register. It must be done at least 30 days before an upcoming election. Hardin says the league encourages everyone to participate in all elections, not just the presidential contest every 4 years.
That's part of the interaction we have with voters is to remind them to vote in every election and emphasize the importance of voting in local elections. Our local council persons, our mayors, board positions, school boards, all of those are important because that impacts the election.
There are more than 230,000 registered voters in Pulaski County. I'm Frida Ross, Arkansas News Service. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
Hello, listeners. This is Charles Ray, and I'm a proud supporter and volunteer of KABF. This radio station brings you so many awesome radio shows in a variety of formats, such as talk, educational, and music programs, 24/7 by volunteers from all walks of life. Right now, KABF needs your help and support by going to our website at kabf.org and clicking on Donate. Your donations can surely keep the station running nicely and smoothly. So come on, chip in, and make it happen for KABF. Thank you for supporting community radio.
Over 60 and retired? Making ends meet, especially at the supermarket, is tough. BenefitsCheckup.org is a free website that helps you pay for food, medicine, even utilities. Visit BenefitsCheckup.org.
Brothers and sisters, when they insist we're just not good enough. When we know better, just look them in the eyes and say, gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Gonna do it anyway. Something inside so
Yes, we're coming in hot this morning. The song should have been your signal that Tony is not here today. So I'm rolling solo for the workplace. Welcome to the workplace right here at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. I am your co-host for the work show, for the workplace. The Reverend Doctor, you can call me Denise, sitting in for Tony, who is out of the studio on today doing what he does, and I'm sure he will tell you all about it as soon as he gets back. But I am so glad that you stopped right here on this Thursday morning from 9 to 10 o'clock Central Standard Time. And for those of you who are listening all across the world, for those of you who are watching Facebook, we are so glad that you have joined us on this morning. KABF would not be what it is to the people, because we are important to the people. KABF is a staple on the radio waves. We are here. We have been here. We are celebrating 41 years. We make a difference in the lives of those who listen. We make a difference in the lives of those who listen, and then tell somebody else about what you heard, because we are here to educate, to inform, to move you to action towards collective liberation. So we are glad that you have joined us, because you keep us alive, and we want you to know that we are grateful. We have been in pledge drive this entire month. And so we want to say thank you to those of you who have already made your pledges, those of you who have called us as DJs, who have called us as hosts, that you have pledged your money to us, and we trust that you will send it in. We are just glad about it. But beyond that, we are glad for all of the other ways that you show up beyond the financial. You are a part of us, and we are a part of you, and we are grateful. So in the spirit of gratitude, we say thank you for being here. The phone lines are open at 501-433-0088. The phone lines are open at 501 433-0088. We also welcome you in the spirit of Salbona, that spirit of oneness that binds us together by our humanity. So every voice, every perspective, every belief, every conviction, every association that you have, it is invited into this space for conversation. So feel free to join us. Again, that number to call is 501-433-0088, 501-433-0088. I do have a few announcements that I would like to make on this morning before we get started with our conversation. Black August, the Little Rock Freedom Fund has been celebrating Black August all month long. And tomorrow, not tomorrow, Saturday, the 30th, there will be a free breakfast for school children at the Williams Library located at 1800 South Chester Street, right here in Little Rock, 72206. The breakfast will start at 10 a.m. and then there's a screening at 11 a.m. of Free Angela and All Political Prisoners that will be shown at the library at 11 a.m. on this Saturday. Those of you who would like to volunteer, you don't even have to write in, you don't even have to register. Show up at 9 o'clock to let them know that you are willing to help with the free breakfast for school children happening on this Saturday, August 30th, at the Williams Library, 1800 South Chester Street. Also want you to know that Anal August, ANAL, Anal August is happening this Saturday as well. There will be, our this is from Arkansas Raps. Yes, is this from Arkansas Raps? If I'm not mistaken, this is from Arkansas Raps. Yeah, I want to say it's from Arkansas Raps. This Saturday, our peer prevention advocate, Miss J. Mays, will be hosting a Let's Get Peachy sexual health information session from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Living Room Wellness Resource Center. She will be offering evidence-based facts, demonstrations, stay ready prep info, and highlighting MK products. This is an 18 and over RSVP event, and you can reach out to our community outreach coordinator, Tommy, at 501-379-8357 for more information. Again, this is an event that is for those of us who are 18 years of age and older, and you must RSVP, and you can do that by reaching out to the community outreach coordinator, Tommy, at 501-379-8357 for more information. Let's just say you might not want to miss out on how you can become more sex positive. So that's happening also on Saturday from 11 to 2 p.m. The 6th annual conference is almost here. Save the date for the Decarcerate Conference, Friday and Saturday, September 12th through 13th. Decarcerate's 6th annual conference is just a few short days away. Weeks away. We hope you will join us for the conference on Friday and Saturday, September 12th through 13th at the Holiday Inn Presidential in downtown Little Rock. The conference will promote connection, learning, and action, bringing together people from across our community to explore Decarcerate's mission to affirm human dignity by confronting unjust institutions, creating a world where equity, healing, and reconciliation replace systems of punishment and oppression. There is a schedule that you can view to explore the learning sessions, the breakout rooms, and the workshops that will be offered. I have already purchased tickets to Decarcerate's conference, and for one person who might want to go. So if you would like to go, the tickets are available through my name. This is Denise, and you can hit me up at 228-236-7440, or you can call right now and claim the registration into this conference at 501-433-0088. So my direct line is 228-236-7440. I have tickets ready for anyone who would like them to attend the Decarcerate's 6th annual conference so that we can replace systems of oppression with systems of healing and equity and fairness, or what some people call justice. I also want to remind us of the conversation we had just this Tuesday when we were talking to Nancy Robinson Lott and we were talking to Jonathan Nelson about what's happening this Saturday starting at 4 p.m. The Pinnacle Valley Charity Horse Show is taking place this Saturday, August 30th from 4 to 6 p.m. There will be vendors, there will be a barbecue cook-off, there will be a best dessert contest, there will be food trucks, line dancing, there will be an after-show entertainment entertainment with Khalil and K Dream at 9 o'clock p.m. And donations are being accepted for the Grimet Cemetery that they are trying to clean, that they are trying to put a marker on. This is important information for those of us who are familiar with this area, Pinnacle Valley, also known as Little Maumelle. So a lot is happening on this Saturday, starting at 9 o'clock and going all the way to the after party after 9 o'clock in Pinnacle Valley. So there's so much that you can do to show your face. And these are all different ways of showing up. So whatever suits your fancy, there should be something in it for you on this Saturday. And we do hope that you will show up somewhere to help somebody do something. Thank you so much. Those are your announcements for today. I want to take a moment to ground this conversation in the song that was played at the beginning of the show. The song that was written and performed by Labi Siffre. Labi Siffre is a British Black man who is also a jazz artist. And I came into contact with him while I was watching Kindred on Netflix. It's I don't know how many part series, maybe 6 or 8 part series on Netflix that is loosely patterned after the book Kindred by Octavia Spencer. Octavia, not Spencer. Octavia Spencer is the actress, but this is not Octavia Spencer. I'm talking about the futuristic, scientific author. Octavia Butler is who I'm talking about. So Octavia Butler is one of very few Black women authors who are writing about futurism, writing about what it means to imagine a world beyond that which we live in today. And she has, for those people who are, even if you're not into science fiction, if you are a reader of Black authors, then Octavia Esther Butler is absolutely someone that you would know. I am a firm believer that the books are always better than the movies. So I would not watch this 8-part series of Kindred before I read the book, because that's just how I feel. I feel so strongly about reading the book beforehand for a lot of reasons. One reason is that Hollywood has a tendency to try to turn everything into a happy ending. And for those of us in particular who are non-white, we know that we live in a world that does not always have happy endings for us. And so this push, this desire, this rhetoric that is required to make everything into a happy ending is something that I do not appreciate. And so I want to read the book so I can get a more realistic feel of what the author wanted to say before Hollywood gets a hold of their content. And so there's only one, maybe 2 stories where I feel like the movie was better than the book. And one of them is a book called My Sister's Keeper by Jodi Picoult, who is a white author. She writes this story about 2 sisters that are growing up in the house. One sister, the older sister, has cancer. The younger sister is born so that they can use her stem cells to heal her older sister. That's really the only reason that they decided to have a second child, was because they were trying to save the life of their first child. And the story that is written in the book ends in a much more realistic, a much more surprising, a much more sad and mournful way than what Hollywood does, because Hollywood really does turn this into a happy ending. So that is definitely one book where, that's an example of why I don't watch the story. But Precious is the book. Precious is a book that actually the movie was better. So I got confused for just a minute. So in the movie Kindred, the book that is written, it's written about going back in time. You have like this time travel thing happening. That also happens in the movie, but they set it in a different, it's in the 1900s as opposed to the 1800s, a whole bunch of stuff going on. But as I was watching Kindred, which is my point, that's when I was listening to the songs. So there's a soundtrack. There's always a soundtrack to every movie that we watch. And Labi Siffre is on that soundtrack. And so that is what brought me into relationship with him. And so I wanted to look him up because I wanted to learn more about this Black man who is British, who is writing this music that was so moving to me in the movie that I decided that I needed to learn more about him. And as I began to read about him, he had actually gone into retirement from music, not for any particular reason from external forces, but just because he decided to take himself out of the game and to do and just to relax and to move away from the music when he was watching a documentary about the South Africa. And in the documentary, he learned about South Africans who were firing and attempting to kill Black children. And he was so moved by the injustice of it all, so moved by the discrimination that he was watching unfold before his eyes through this documentary, that he wrote this song, the song that was played for you just a minute ago. That is so very, I think, timely and relevant to us and to our conversation that I couldn't help but include it. The song is called So Strong, or another title for it is Something Inside So Strong. And so Labi Siffre is watching this documentary, watching these white South Africans attempt to kill these Black children simply because they are Black, rooted in their discrimination, rooting in their hatred of all things that are melanated, all people who have melanin, more melanin in their bodies. And he says he's reminded, he wants to remind us that there's something inside of us that is so strong, that regardless of the barriers that we face, regardless of how they try to silence us, regardless of the rhetoric that tries to make us feel that we are unlovable, that we are unworthy, that we are not valuable, against all of what you hear, against all of what we've been indoctrinated to believe, against all of what we've been internalized, that we actually do believe as melanated people, particularly Black folks, that there is something inside of us. If we would just tap into the knowledge of who we really are, if we would do the work of coming home to ourselves, if we would do the work of trusting ourselves and our own voices more than the voices in the media, more than the voices in the music, more than the voices on television, if we would listen to ourselves, if we would know that we are divine, if we would just understand just how powerful we are, that whatever they say to us, we will counter it. And that's what this song is all about. No matter how high you build the barriers, I'll become even taller than them. No matter how far you try to take my rights away, I will run faster and chase them down. Or I will be like what I consider the force of God that will slow walk you down. So no matter how long it takes me, you will not be able to deny me what is rightfully mine. Even though you squander the wealth that belongs to me, I still know that I can claim justice for my life. I can claim liberation as a collective. I can claim that our nation, you hide behind church, but those walls are already tumbling. You cannot deny me my place in this time. I mean, he goes on and on. What a powerful message he is sending to us about making sure that we know that there's something inside of us that is so strong. I'm so glad that he does not use the word resilient in this song, because I feel like some of us are misinterpreting that word. Have you all watched that YouTube video of Amanda Seales, who is countering the voices of 20 Black conservatives in the political arena, and they get an opportunity to refute her claim? She'll make a claim about whatever it is she believes about reparations, whatever it is she believes about discrimination and hatred, whatever that is, and then the Black conservative people have an opportunity to refute her. So they're debating each other. And there's this one Black conservative woman who continues to ask Amanda Seales, do you believe that we are resilient? Do you believe that Black people, do you believe that we are resilient? Just tell me that, just answer that. Do you believe that we are resilient? And so what the Black woman conservative is trying to get us to believe is that we should bask in the glory of knowing that no matter what they do to us, we will still survive. So go ahead and accept it. Go ahead and allow them to do what they're going to do, because we will rise above it. We will get through it. We can withstand it because we are resilient. And so that message that sends is that we should not fight. The message that we send is that we should allow things to happen to us because people are going to do what they're going to do. The system is what it was. She doesn't even believe in a system, but things are going to happen to us as Black folks. But don't worry about that because you are resilient. And so I'm glad that Labby Sifri does not take that position, because what Labby Sifri is saying is no. You don't get to do just whatever you want to do. I recognize that that's what you're trying to do. I recognize that that's your agenda, but it's not going to fly because there is something so strong inside of me that I'm going to fight you every step of the way. I'm not going to go down without a fight. You're not going to just hit me and I'm just going to be like, oh, wow, I got hit. That's not how it's going to happen. And so I appreciated so much his words, and I wanted them to ground our conversation in knowing that there's something so strong, something inside of us so strong that we can stand up for ourselves. We can raise our voices. We can fight in whatever manner that looks like. Because sometimes it looks like a physical fight. Sometimes it looks like a social fight. Sometimes it looks like a spiritual fight. Sometimes it looks like an emotional, psychological fight. And sometimes it looks like a professional fight. So since this is the workplace, I wanted to make sure that we also grounded this conversation in what happens to many of us in the workplace, reminding us ourselves that there's something inside of us so strong that will help us to fight, that will help us resist, that will help us struggle. And if we win, we win. If we don't win, there is already a win in the fight. The work that I was doing when I first moved here, that put me in political spaces. So I was I would be at the legislature here in Arkansas. I would be at the Capitol in DC, doing the work of advocating for people who are lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, plus. And one of the things that we had to realize is that we had to redefine what it means to win. Many of us think that when we're talking about elections, that the only win that we can claim is if our candidate ends up getting into office. If we're voting for this person and they get into office, then we would say, oh my goodness, let's have a victory party because we've won. But what we had to learn is that winning, that's not the only way that you can win. And when you think about Stacey Abrams and how many times she has fought to get a seat in the legislature, a seat on whatever she's doing politically in the state of Georgia, she has yet to win those electoral votes to get those seats. And she has yet to win because sometimes it's the shenanigans that they play that keeps her out. But people will say, well, she doesn't have that seat. She did not get that seat that she was running for, so she did not win. We're like, no. She did the work that she was doing to turn Georgia blue in one particular instance. That was absolutely a win. So we have to redefine what it means to win. So there are some of us who are in the workplace that are fighting, that are struggling, that are resisting, and those with the power to give us the win favorably in terms of us keeping our job or being in a certain position, they may not grant us that, but the journey to that goal is what we could consider a win. So it's not always about the outcome, whether or not we actually get what we want. It's about what happens along the way. And we can count those steps as wins, even though it doesn't feel like it, because the outcome that we thought we wanted didn't show up in the way that we were looking for it. And so I wanted to think about that today when we're thinking about the workplace. So professionally, what is happening to us, especially as Black folks, non-white folks. And so the person that I chose to center in this space is Lisa Cook. Lisa Cook is the person that we are centering in this space, but you all can call in and give examples of from your own life or from your friend's life or just from something you saw, like however you want to engage in the conversation, you are welcome to do that. But the person's life that I'm centering is Lisa Cook. I want to remind you again that the phone lines are open at 501-433-0088. So Lisa Cook is a federal governor who was appointed and confirmed by the Senate back in 2023, if I'm not mistaken. And when she was going through the confirmation to receive this job, she faced all kinds of opposition, because when she was granted the seat as a governor, she became the first Black woman to hold such an office. And there was, it was it was a knockout, drag out fight to get her into this seat where the Congress, the Senate actually voted 50-50. And so Vice President Kamala Harris was the one who cast the deciding vote that gave Lisa Cook this seat as a federal governor. And in that seat, she has been working diligently to lead based on her own convictions, which is what all of us do. Like, we have a strong moral compass. We believe we run for office because we feel like we have a voice that the people need to hear. We feel like there are fights that the people need to see us fighting. We believe that there are struggles and resistance that need to manifest themselves in the public sphere through our bodies, through our voices, through the stances that we take. And so we put ourselves in the arena. You think about Joyce Elliott, you think about you think about the man, the Black man, Chris Jones. You think about all of those people who say, listen, you think about Ryan Davis, who say, we are the voice, Dr. Anika Whitfield, you say, these are the voices that need to be in these places, because we are the ones who are not scared. We are the ones who are willing to take a stand. We are the ones who are willing to make a sacrifice. We are ones who are willing to put our bodies on the line. We are the ones who are willing to do that. And those voices generally are not the ones who end up being elected. That's what happened with Senator Joyce Elliott. That's what happened with Dr. Anika Whitfield. That's what happened with Dr. Chris Jones. That's what happened with the Right Reverend Ryan Davis. And so we get other people in the space who are not going to show up in the same ways. I'm not saying they don't show up, but they don't show up in the same ways. And so when we think about Lisa Cook as the federal governor, she is showing up, she's trying to. She is showing up in the ways that she absolutely believes that she should, and she is being fought tooth and nail, especially now with this presidential administration, for her fierceness. And that's what we're talking about today. Caller, thank you so much for calling The Workplace. You are live on the air. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. I love your show, but this even clown in the White House, if you're a Black woman that has a transcript bigger than his, because he can't show his transcript, these are women that accomplish things that we can't imagine. And he's going after them like crazy. Now look at Elon Musk. He's done blown up 4 rockets. Now you gonna tell me, if I'm a Black man and I got that contact, if I blow up 1 rocket, what do you think is gonna happen to me? They're gonna get rid of me.
Absolutely.
This is a war on Black people, and especially Black accomplished women. And I'm just hoping that this white problem of ours will vote against all these Republicans, because these people are going for vote. This is really going to get into communism. Communism is what they used to like to peg on Democrats, but this man has taken a stake in a company in this country, in town. That's what communists control companies, and every time you have to define socialism, they can't. Thank you, Denise, and have a good weekend.
Okay, thank you, caller. I'm so glad that the caller mentioned the fact that this is an attack on Black folks, because one of the things that we try really hard to do on KABF is to connect the dots for you, because this world, and I think Solar Beam, who calls in usually on Thursdays, continues to remind us that we cannot fall for the distractions that are put in our way, that there are things happening around us, but then there's this one issue that will become so big that it grabs all of our attention, and it takes our attention away from what's really going on. So we're distracted by what's this carrot that's dangling to our right, when to our left all manner of evil is being perpetrated against us, and we're not paying attention. And because we are not paying attention, we fall prey to it. And so when we think about this attack on the federal governor, Lisa Cook, it is absolutely an attack on all Black people, because the work that Trump is trying to do against her isn't just about getting rid of a Black woman. It's not just about that. He is trying to lower these interest rates, and he wants to stack the deck so that the people who have the vote are the ones who will vote in his favor. And if he succeeds in removing Cook from the board, it could erode. So the board that Lisa Cook sits on is supposed to be apolitical. Apolitical meaning it's not supposed to care about politics in terms of who's Republican and who's Democrat, and we're gonna favor this because they're Republican, we're gonna favor them. It's not supposed to be concerned about those matters at all. It's strictly supposed to deal with the issues of economics in our country, and it's supposed to make decisions based on what's best for the people, regardless of their partisan association. So it should not matter whether a person is Republican or Democrat or Independent, Green Party, Tea Party. None of that should matter to this board. But what Trump is doing is trying to make it matter so that the people who sit on the board will work in his favor. Caller, you're live on the air. Thanks for calling the workplace. Caller, call us back. I don't know what happened. Call us back, caller. And so, oh, here we go. Caller, you're live on the air at the workplace. Thanks for calling.
Yes, good morning, everyone.
Morning.
I really, you understand what you're saying when you say it's a war against Black. This is a war against righteousness, period. All right. We have a force of evil that has to have evil to survive. It feeds off of. That's all they do. And you study this. Good see. See what it is. I mean, it's a weird walk. And people really need to understand what warfare is. We are in the inner wall of righteousness and purity.
Okay. Oh, okay. I wasn't sure he was done. Absolutely. So I don't deny that at all. That the caller says that we are at war, and it's not just Black people who are that the system is fighting, according to the caller, that they are fighting, that we're fighting a war about righteousness, and that is what's on the line here, righteousness, and people need to come and come to the grips with that. And I absolutely do not disagree with that at all. I want to add, though, that what I believe is when you've got to have a focal point for the war in order for people to fight. Because righteousness doesn't have a face. Righteousness doesn't have a body. It has to be embodied by somebody. Evil has to be embodied by somebody. So when you're talking about a war, you're talking about these forces, you got to put a face on it. You got to put a body on it so that people will know where to aim. And what I am positing, what I am suggesting, what I'm offering up for your consideration, which you absolutely can disagree with, absolutely can challenge, is that the target is Black folks. Because when you think about the family of humans, all of us as humans, when you look and you ask yourself, who's the most vulnerable member of our family? Then you will say, oh, the most vulnerable member of our family, the one who's always under attack, the one who's always been under the attack, the one who wasn't even considered human, the one who continues to suffer from all of the not suffer as a victim, but suffer as conditions and circumstances around all that has been put in place legally and illegally for us to be on the bottom. That face and that body is Black. Now, because it is the target and you have to cast the net so wide to get all the Black people, other people fall into that same net. So you have brown people as immigrants in that net right now. You have poor white people in that net right now. You have other people who end up suffering from the fight, being a part of the war, but the war has an aim, and that's what I'm suggesting is happening with Black folks. And that's why I want to have this conversation, because when you think of caller, you're live on the air at the workplace. Thanks for calling.
Yes, you are absolutely right. It's against the dog Black people on the planet. In other words, it's against no reason. And everything is being sold and keeping us down to never recover. Our people really need to take it serious. And I'm walking through like ain't nothing going on. You know, wake up, all I can say. Thought you're dead, but you know it. You need to wake up.
Thank you, caller. Caller says we need to wake up because some of us have been anesthetized to the point that we're actually the walking dead. Caller, you're live on the air. Thanks for calling the workplace.
Hello, good morning. Yes, that was my brother who called a couple of callers ago. The one who was so fiery. But yes, I wanted to talk to you about. I don't know if you're into tennis, but do you know who Taylor Townsend is?
I don't.
Female tennis player.
I don't.
Yes.
I know who Coco is. I know who Venus is. I don't know Taylor.
You don't?
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, she's a Black tennis player who's in the U.S. Open, which is going on now for the next couple of weeks. They were talking about, it's hard being Black in this world, because they were talking about over the years how she really needs to, if she wants to be successful, to maybe lose weight, and she's not really big. As a matter of fact, she's smaller than Serena Williams. But they were talking about her, if she needs to lose weight to be successful. Well, she's the #1 mixed doubles player in the world. And now she's getting into the singles brand, and she beat a lady from some other country, Ostapenko was her last name or something. Do you know that at the end of the match, you know, when they shake hands?
Yeah, they got
the
into
other girl said to her that you have no class, you're uneducated, and just wait till you come to other countries and play and see how you win. Well, that was because the U.S. Open, you know, the Americans were really cheering for Taylor Townsend and everything. And Taylor did nothing to her. So,
I mean, she beat her though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so that's what she did
Taylor
too.
was very gracious about it. They asked her in an interview, was it gracious? She said, you know, when people lose and everything, they try to come up with excuses and everything to justify why they lost. The same thing happened to Coco Taylor. You remember? I mean, Coco
Golf. Yeah.
A few months ago, when she beat the #1 player, #1 player said, well, she didn't really play that well. It's just that I didn't play good. And if she had played Viatek would have beat her. Now, I used to say that tennis was so great because I didn't see any type of frictions like that. But now all of a sudden, there are frictions like that when it comes to the Black players. So you see what I'm saying about how it is in this world to be Black? You know, it used to be like that. But I'm wondering if this Trump thing is really echoing all over the world, and everybody become emboldened to do Black people like that. So we are in a war, and I just wanted to bring that to everybody's attention. Thank you very much for your time, and keep it up. I love this show.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, I do want to. So the caller says that perhaps because of our present presidential administration, things against Black people are coming to light in ways that they hadn't before. So the caller says, I don't think it was like that before. But I do want to push back on that a little bit, because my understanding of history is that anytime you have a Black person that beats I'm thinking particularly about boxing. I can't remember the people's names. Maybe somebody will call in and remember. But there was a white boxer who came out of retirement to fight this black boxer because the black boxer was so ferocious and such an amazing player. And then the white man got beat, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, no!" And so whenever we as Black folks continue to show the excellence of what we do, the system of whiteness, the system of white inhumanity always tries to come up with a reason why. Like it can't be because you are this talented. Like you must be supernatural. You must be taking some steroids. You must be uneducated. You must be whatever they come up with. And I think that that's historically what we have seen. And so anything that can cause a person to doubt what's right before their very eyes. Like I'm watching you. So those of you who are following Taylor Townsend, you're watching her on the court. You're watching her move with her 170 pounds. You're watching her defeat this person fairly and squarely. Like you're watching it, and then they want you to believe that no, she really not that good. And so I don't think that that's something that's just happening with this presidential administration. But the part about being emboldened, I absolutely agree with that, because it used to be that the KKK would wear these masks, they would wear these sheets so that you couldn't see them. But now you see people that are unmasked. There were times when they were unmasked, but by and large, the KKK would have these sheets. They're known for the sheets that they wore. So it's like they were not identifying themselves. And so when you follow what's happening with ICE, you see many of them now are masked, and because you can't make out exactly who they are. And so so people are now more bold. I absolutely would agree with that part. But we have always been under attack as melanated folks, and particularly Black folks in America. And it's in every realm. And so I'm glad the caller said that it's not just, I'm talking about Lisa Cook in the political arena on her job, but this is Taylor Townsend's job. Her job is to be an athlete, and she's excellent at what she does on this tennis court. So even professionally, she is under attack because of who she is, and I believe it's because of Black person. Because I just don't believe she would have done that if it had been another white woman. I just don't believe she would have, and we won't know because Taylor Townsend is not white. But that's my belief. And so when we talk about, and so I'm using Lisa Cook on her job as sitting on the board as governor, and how she is being treated by President Trump, I want to make sure that we do not get distracted. Yes, she's being attacked because she is Black. Yes, she's being attacked because she is woman. But why? We've got to start asking the question, why does he want to attack her? Caller, you're live on the air at the workplace. Thanks for calling.
Oh, you're welcome. Good morning, Sister Denise. And
morning, Ezekiel.
And those on the web. You may have been referring to Jack Johnson, a boxer who was actually stripped of his title, had to leave the country. He was the world champion. There was a law passed called the Mann Act, which is a taking women across state lines for illegal purposes. They did everything they could to get him out of the championship, and he ended up winning. But they say he really didn't win, so he just threw the fight, and they show a picture of him holding his hands over his eyes to keep the sun from shining in his eyes. But he was beat folks so bad that no one could beat him. His name was Jack Johnson. James Earl Jones played him in a movie. That may be the boxer you're referring to. And as far as kangaroo courts and so-called justice, I think about Chuck Berry, a musician who never got the fame that he actually was due, because he was the architect, if you will, of the crossover music, where whites started dancing to the Black music like never before in the history of the United States. Chuck Berry was so prolific that everybody copied his guitar style, which he got from a lady out of Eastern Arkansas, Sister Tharp. She was a guitarist too, but she was supposed to have been secular or religious music. But Chuck Berry was castigated, thrown in prison for God knows how many years, never got his due. And that was all because he was Black, I think, because there were others who did the same thing that he did. And I was thinking about when you said history and the racism that goes with it. There were 4 girls in church who were killed. A 5th one was blinded. They were bombed at 16th Street Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama. And that's not to make what happened yesterday in Minnesota or wherever any less horrific than what it was. But with the folks who are running our education systems, I imagine they don't want to teach the history that has occurred to black folks in America when these 4 babies were killed in Sunday school getting ready for a play or a presentation or some kind of event in church, and they were bombed. You mentioned by the KKK, and there was no outcry. There was shock and horror, if you will, but it didn't continue because folks don't talk about it today, and they passed laws where you can't teach about it in schools. And there was 4 young girls, very young girls, who were killed in Birmingham in 1963. And you never hear anybody talking about it, but it does pop up every now and then. And one of the girls didn't get killed. She lost her eye, I think. But I just wanted to mention that. And that gentleman's name that you keep mentioning, his name is Lalo Schifrin. A friend of mine used to perform with him with Chico Hamilton, who was the brother of Bernard Hamilton, who played the detective on Starsky and Hutch, I think. But his name is Lalo Schifrin, and he's an accomplished musician. So is Chico Hamilton, world renowned. And I just wanted to put that out there for you and keep up the good work. And I appreciate all that you're doing to make these things aware to all of us. And hopefully, like you said, just because you're not elected don't mean you didn't win. And we've got to make that known to a lot of folks who think that it's not good to vote. The political system does have its merits. Believe that. If it didn't, you wouldn't have all of these folks trying to fix it to where the black folks doesn't count anymore. You've got states that are so-called red states that are trying to manipulate the census now, where they used to do counting every 10 years. They want to do it now so that it will come up in these off-year elections so that certain agendas can, like you said, the stacking of the governors on the Federal Reserve and all of these other committees and whatever agencies that they're dismantling. And it looks bad, but it's going to be even worse if we don't step up to the plate and do what we can to, make it less easy for them to do what they're doing. And with that, I'll get off there. Thank you very much.
Thanks. So I was trying to see. So we are looking at watching right before our very eyes the unraveling of, or the attempt to unravel the history of our country as it relates to race. And so the caller Ezekiel is like, well, why do you think they don't want, well, Ezekiel doesn't say why, I'm saying. So what would be the reason? I really think we need to start asking the question why. Why do they want to ban books? Why do they want to get rid of DEI? Why do they want to change the face of public education to the voucher system? Like, what is the why behind that? And when we seek the why, rather than running after the clickbait of the rhetoric that pulls up at the top line of your news feed, instead of chasing after that, if we dig a little deeper and ask the why, then we can begin to connect some dots. And so that's what I want to do with these last couple of minutes that we have on the workplace. Caller, you're live on the workplace. Thanks for calling.
Yeah.
We're here, caller. You're on the air.
Oh, I'm sorry. She was saying why. Well, I don't say I believe. If the original people come into the knowledge that they are one with the source of creation and start operating on that level, who we really is instead of what we been taught we were through your religious and all the other programs. There's no way you can be held back once you realize who you really is and start to functioning from that. That is the real why. I mean, if people just woke up and realized who they gonna start functioning, you can come to this overnight. The message is out that we could change it overnight. But if we relate and see who we really is, instead of who the illusion or whatever we've been put on ourselves, we hold ourselves back by going against our own self. I don't expect these people, they are not going to change. You ain't going to make them change. But we need to change. And they know that people have studied us. They studied us on how to conquer us. They got a guide on how to conquer us as a people. They got a guide that they've been following for thousands of years to get us in where we at now. This ain't no overnight thing that just started in the United States. They know us like better than they know themselves, probably. Because they studied us. They know who we is. So that's all I got to say.
Thank you, caller. Yeah, they absolutely know who we are, because one of the false narratives that we have around the system of enslavement, particularly on American soil, is that they went over to Africa and kidnapped slaves, and then brought them here to the country. Brought them here and then, created America, used the free labor to create America. And that's just a lie from the pit of hell. They went and captured the excellence in Africa, right? They were capturing artisans. Like they knew that they needed people with a specific with specific knowledge that would be that they could exploit in order to create America. And so this idea that we were just barbaric, running through the woods with bones in our noses, naked and all of that, that's just the way that they tell the story so that you will be duped. And that is what we see. Again, I do, for those of you who can stomach it, because the conversation between Amanda Seals and the 20 Black conservatives that are challenging her. If you can stomach the other side, like some of us, like me, I want to hear what everybody's saying. So I will listen to the other side. I will listen to those who oppose what I believe in. I want to hear what they have to say. I want to hear their why. I want to know what they're standing on. So I don't mind listening to it, but sometimes it's difficult to listen to. So this particular YouTube video, I have not made it all the way through. I'm 2/3 of the way through because I have to stop after a while just to get myself, just to keep myself centered, because it's so ridiculous what's coming out of their mouths. And so when the caller says you don't know who you are, then when you couple that with what's being erased, or the continued effort to erase it, within that's what's producing these Black conservatives who do not know who they are and who are working diligently against their own selves, because they have not tapped into the force that lives inside of them. And so before we go, it's time for us to go, but I just want to make sure, I was trying to make this point before we left. Just let me read this one paragraph. If Trump succeeds in removing Lisa Cook from the board, it could erode the Fed's political independence, which is considered critical to its ability to fight inflation because it enables it to take unpopular steps like raising interest rates. If bond investors start to lose faith that the Fed will be able to control inflation, they will demand higher rates to own bonds, pushing up borrowing costs for mortgages, car loans, and business loans. That last line, listen to this. If bond investors start to lose faith that the Fed will be able to control inflation, they will demand higher rates to own bonds, pushing up borrowing costs for mortgages, car loans, and business loans. Why would Why is that important? That last line of what it would mean for Lisa Cook to be gone from this board is that those of us, particularly Black folks who have historically been pushed out of the success that comes with owning land, the success that comes with owning your own business. Look at how many times in our history that the system of white inhumanity has bombed us, has bombed our business, our Black business districts, have built highways in between to disrupt our Black business districts, all the time disrupting what we are able to do by ourselves and for ourselves. This move by Trump to get Lisa Cook off of the board as a governor is what that's going to amount. It's already hard enough for us. Like the song says, you obstruct these high barriers that we have to cross. We're gonna cross them, but you keep obstructing us in every way. So those of us who want to own homes, who want to leave that legacy, those of us who want to be our own bosses, those of us who need our own transportation, it's going to affect our day-to-day life as non-white people, but particularly Black folks. That is the why that we need to be fighting. Trump is claiming that Lisa Cook is dishonest. How is a convicted felon going to call somebody else dishonest? This is the conversation that we need to be having, and this is what I hope we will continue to talk about beyond this moment. Thank you so much for joining us for the workplace today. You have been listening to us right here live at KABF 88.3 FM, where we are the voice of the people. Do not touch that dial. We are still here to keep making sure that you are educated, informed, and moved to action for liberation. See y'all next time.
This program is underwritten by Digital Business Solutions Incorporated.